Hey guys, it's Rob here and welcome back to another video. We got some pretty good, interesting Nintendo Switch 2 news, especially when it comes to the best-selling console of all time, the Nintendo Switch 2 numbers, and of course including the Nintendo Switch 1. Metroid Prime 4 has a new trailer and other cool Nintendo Switch 2 news. If you guys end up enjoying this video, make sure you guys leave a like and of course subscribe for more. So the first bit of news we have is for the Nintendo Switch 2 sales, and it's about to do something pretty insane when it comes to overall console sales worldwide lifetime sales, and the Nintendo Switch 2's lifetime hasn't even ended yet, including the Nintendo Switch 1. So Gematsu over on Twitter says Switch 2 worldwide sales top 10.36 million. Now the interesting thing about this is that the worldwide lifetime sales of the Nintendo Wii U is about 15 million. I mean, this is just the Nintendo Switch 2. The rest of the tweet says Switch tops 154 million and 154.1 million. And that is a pretty big number because that means it's very much close to the lifetime sales of the top console of all time, which is of course the PlayStation 2. Now when the PlayStation 2 released, it did have some other things other than games going for it. Back then DVD players were a lot more expensive, so the PS2 was kind of the cheaper option, so it kind of had a dual use. So that did attribute to some more sales as well. Not to mention its fantastic library and great games, and you know, it could also play music as well, and it was just a really great console with great games, and that sounds very familiar to the Nintendo Switch 1 and Switch 2 in my personal opinion. The fact that it's portable as well helps, and just a whole bunch of other things that Nintendo has been doing right even during the pandemic. I would say there was a bit of a drought there for a little bit, but they still gave us some great memories on some great games. So the fact that it's almost the best-selling console of all time is really crazy, and it's going to be interesting to see just how far the Nintendo Switch 2 goes, and if any other console can actually even match that number in the future. I mean, the Nintendo DS was already a pretty huge handheld. The fact that a console hybrid ended up selling this much is pretty insane, and it does really speak volumes to exactly where things are heading and why so many companies are bringing in these handheld devices, because again, Nintendo seems to be always the company that always leads the charge with new things. Well, I don't want to say new things, but you guys know what I mean. I mean, there are rumors of that Sony handheld, you know, Xbox is doing their own thing with the things, and of course Sony does have that streaming handheld as well. So when the Nintendo Switch 2, or I guess the Nintendo Switch brand, ends up doing the best-selling console of all time, it's going to be very interesting if we see even more of a push for these handheld consoles by like Sony, Xbox, other manufacturers, you know, of course on the PC side. And it really does make me wonder, like, in the future, are we gonna actually still have consoles, or are there gonna be these console hybrids that Nintendo was the first to really get into, or at the very least make a huge success like this? Because at one point there's gonna be a time where these handhelds can run really fantastic graphics, and eventually you're gonna be thinking, well, man, I wish this was portable, right? I mean, these games already look fantastic. It would be really great if there was a portable attachment to this, or a portable mode. Of course, this is in the future, it's not now, but eventually technology is gonna be so good that handheld is gonna look as fantastic as PCs look now. And not just PCs, PS5 too. Of course, that depends on what's in the PC, but you guys get what I mean. And moving on to some more Nintendo Switch 2 sales, Nintendo over on Twitter says new Nintendo Switch 2 sales report as of September 30th, 2025. Nintendo Switch 2 sells 10.36 million in 4 months, which is absolutely insane. Nintendo Switch 1 at 154.01 million. Donkey Kong Bonanza sells 3.5 million since launch. Mario Kart World, this is actually pretty interesting, sells 9.57 million with a 92% attachment rate. The interesting thing about these sales is that, you know, everything's not perfect with the Nintendo Switch 2. You know, prices are increasing, game key cards, you know, the amiibo prices. I still think those amiibo prices are absolutely ridiculous. I mean, $50 for a game that's already going to be $70. I still think that's way too much. That's almost the full price of the actual game you're buying it for. It's still ridiculous. But with all those problems, I still say that I have a very fun time with my Nintendo Switch 2. I've been playing a lot of different games. I've been playing Trails of the Sky, you know, Hades 2, Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, all of those games. And then of course there's the upgrades for the Nintendo Switch 2 games like Tears of the Kingdom. So it's been a pretty decent ride, I would say, and I'm pretty excited to see like what Nintendo does in like year 2, right? Because we know that a lot of devs don't have the time to put their games on the Nintendo Switch just yet. They were a little late on those dev kits, if I remember correctly, when those news reports were going around. So we haven't seen the full, not launch, but the full power of the support for the Nintendo Switch 2, and it's going to be really exciting to see a lot of these games, especially like later down the line, because a lot of companies are going to get used to, you know, making games for the Nintendo Switch 2, so we're going to see a lot more optimization, a lot more juice out of the Nintendo Switch 2, and that's going to bring a lot of fantastic games to the console, so it's going to be very fun to see what games do come. Personally, I'm still waiting for, Final Fantasy 13 series. I know they're very old games, but I would still like to see those on the Nintendo Switch 2. And moving on to the next topic, we do have a new Metroid Prime 4 trailer. They just released this not too long ago, and it really is fun to see news from this game and new trailers and new gameplay, because every single time I see something from this game, it just looks better and better to me. And at this point, I really don't need to see too much from this game. I'm already sold on it, but I do wonder when that Metroid Prime 4 Nintendo Direct is going to be. More than likely, it's going to come sometime in the middle of this month, so around the 15th, I think they're going to announce that. It seems like the marketing for the game is starting to ramp up, so I would expect a Nintendo Direct focus on that game to come very soon, especially since they restarted development, so that cost for the game is definitely going to go up. So you're going to want to do the best you can with the marketing for that game so it can sell the best. Marketing, in my opinion, is very important to games, and just not just games, but like movies and stuff. I mean, how many times have we had like movies release and they just flop, and it's a really fantastic movie, but you know, the studio doesn't market it as much and it ends up flopping, and then they think, oh my god, why did this flop? Seems like no one wants it. It's like, no, you just didn't market it. This could happen with games as well. I'm not saying that Metroid Prime 4 is going to flop, but marketing is one of those things if you want your game to sell even more, right? So my guess is probably around the 15th we're going to get that Metroid Prime 4 Nintendo Direct. And moving on to the last topic of today, we do have the Metacritic score for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Now, myself included, I'm going to be getting my copy when it releases, and I probably will end up streaming it. So when that releases, make sure you guys check out the channel, check out the Twitter account, so you know when exactly I'm going to go live. I will post when I go live the exact time before I even go live, probably like a day before, so probably on the 5th. I think it comes out on the 6th if I remember correctly. But it seems that it's reviewing kind of decently. It's 78, so it's about a pretty good, okay game. It's not like overly amazing. And we are going to be covering all the reviews and stuff and what people are saying on that, which will be either before this video or after this video. I'm not 100% sure yet, but this is just the first bit of news that I'm covering, and this is the first video I'm doing, so that's why I'm covering it right now. With that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys leave a like, and of course subscribe for more Nintendo Switch 2 news, and of course drop by the stream for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment on the 6th, so I'm going to be streaming that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.